at the Gallup polls, okay, and they're very interesting, and other polls, and you see the decline in support for Israel, okay, and it's several years before the Gaza war took place, okay, and you ask, why did that happen? Well, the one correlation you see, which is almost a perfect correlation, is the penetration of TikTok and other social media in the United States, and as the penetration increases, the support for Israel decreases, and let me tell you something else. The support for America decreases. The number of people who say they're not proud to be Americans, it's just correlation. So I think that what has happened here is that there are several countries and organizations that have penetrated the social media, have abused them by putting in bot farms and other things to, especially directed at young Americans, to not only to hate Israel, but also to hate America. And you know what? Those who say they hate Israel usually end up hating America.
Mr. Prime Minister, I think all things can be true. All things can be true. What you're saying about bots and about the internet, no question. But are you saying that Israel and you personally bear no responsibility? Let's just talk about Gaza for 1 minute. Currently, Hamas is continuing to refuse to disarm. The IDF is also carrying out nearly daily airstrikes in Gaza. You've taken over more territory there. And the Palestinian people are continuing to suffer, still displaced, dealing with intense heat, limited care, limited resources. Will you do more to help those suffering in Gaza? And will you concede that the images that people are seeing on their phones as part of social media is very much contributing to the turnaround and the diminishment of support of your state of Israel and of you?
Yeah, look, I think that what you're raising is, how do you fight a war in the digital age when when you have terrorists that embed themselves in civilian populations, in schools, in civilian neighborhoods, in apartment blocks, in mosques, and so on? How do you fight them? They send rockets to indiscriminately kill our people, and they hide behind, they're targeting our civilians while hiding behind their own civilians. So what are you going to do? What do you think would happen if this happened to New York City, say from New Jersey? You think if they rocketed you with, with this firepower and murdered about 10,000 of your people, murdered, raped, maimed, disemboweled, 10,000 Americans, what do you think the response of the United States would be? It would be a lot stronger than ours.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say right now, but I think it's important. I think it's important. We have taken unbelievable measures in order to avoid civilian casualties. We send millions of phone calls to the people, millions of text messages and so on. Please leave this neighborhood because we're going to try to eradicate Hamas. And Hamas, I'm talking about, ceasefire I'll talk about in a minute, but well, obviously there's no real fighting going on. There are occasional actions that they try to do against us and we do against them, but it's not the kind of broad warfare that we had before. Everybody understands that. But I still come back to this point, Dana, and I insist on it, because people say, Israel, how dare you? How come civilians are killed? Because Hamas did not let the civilians leave. And when they try to leave at our behest, they would shoot them. They would actually kill their own people in order to keep them in a place where they would be injured by us. So when you have this cynicism and this horror, you don't support the terrorists. You support Israel, because you will end up being in the same place exactly. We're not fighting just our battle, we're fighting your battle, both against Iran and its proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. These people are bent on destroying our free society.
Will the ceasefire take hold and be successful?
Using the media for that end. Well, look, it depends. Every time they try to kill our people, make a move on our people, obviously we act. But I think that the most important thing is the disarmament factor in the agreement, the 20-point agreement that President Trump put forward. And the most important one is that Hamas has to disarm and Gaza has to be demilitarized. It's going to happen one way or the other. I preferred that it would happen without the need for the use of force and the need for our use of force, because Donna, I've been to war.